The following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, we may spoil anything and everything, so you have been warned. Hello and welcome to the Save Point Gamecast. I'm your host. Today, ironically, it's me and not Ben, though Ben is still here. I wanted to.
No, it's ironic.
It's not ironic. I get
Ben
that
just
that
went
word.
missing.
I think I used that word too much. Confusing. How about that? We made it. It's bad. Okay, I'm your host Jack Newman, and joined with me today is Benjamin Haworth or Ben Hayworth or.
Hello, everybody.
Today you're Benjamin.
Benjamin.
I don't know. I like Benjamin. I mean, I like
Right. No, I like it too.
It's on my business card, so it's
it gets in. Benjamin Haworth.
Benjamin T. Haworth. Yes.
We're also joined here today by Peter Dancy, who has the coolest last name of any man I know.
Oh,
Dancy is a
you're
cool
so
name.
sweet.
No, Dancy? Just fuck, dude. That's awesome. Like, you're just
like Hugh Dancy, the beautiful star of Hannibal. So, yes, I agree.
Oh, that's 100%. Right, Hugh
100%.
Dancy.
Well, we're going to get today kicked off with a nice little segment. We're going to talk about what we played.
Woo!
I told people last week that I was going to do a Dark Souls 1 replay. It's not going well. I got to Blightown. I'll say this about Dark Souls. People talk about this all the time, and people are like, "Oh man, I love Dark Souls 1 so much more than Dark Souls 3." You're right. The story is better. The game setup and design is better to some extent, but damn, all those little advancements and tweaks to the frame rate and the game system and how it handles and plays, it is so much easier to play Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 1, people that are like, oh, it's just infinitely better. You're wrong on a basic game mechanics side. I'm sorry, you are. There's so many things that they developed to make that game not just it's not easier, but just better. It's not easier, but it is better. It is more fun, and I'm sorry, Dark Souls just has a lot more bullshit in there. In the progress of being hard, in the process of being hard and super difficult, it is just more bullshit in there. I'm sorry, and chief among that, and I've been told this forever, but it's finally nice to put a bullshit place to a bullshit name. Blightown is bullshit.
Wow.
And I've read all this stuff about the ladders, and I know you can go back up and do all this stuff, and it's just all the status effects and all the things that build up to kill you. I'm just it is a bunch of bullshit, and I am going to stop playing for a little while. I'm sorry. I will come back to this and conquer
eventually.
it. But there are good things, and I've started playing. Yeah, well, no, we're going to do this, especially since I said it on the cast. Now I have to fucking do it.
Yep.
And I realized that I was cursing Blightown out and be like, I really don't want to play this, but I have to fucking do it now. So
you are now obligated. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Ben, you're playing Kentucky Route Zero.
Yes, I was moving. I'm now in Los Angeles.
Yay!
Yay! Woo! Los Angeles.
City of Dreams.
But of course, as soon as I move, goddamn Kentucky Route Zero, after being away for literally 2 years.
Are you serious?
Suddenly drops its new Act 4. I didn't realize it was 2 goddamn years, but it is in fact 2 years, and it felt like it. Its fourth of its 5 acts is finally out. Perhaps almost rivaling Half-Life in the slow act revelation. But of course, it's I've been something I waited for 2 years, finally comes out, and I miss it. But now I finally got a chance to play it, and of course, I still didn't even get a chance to play the entire thing, which I'll explain later. But what I did play, I truly love. For those who don't know, Kentucky Route Zero is an independent game made by a company called Cardboard Computer. There are probably, I think, only about 2 or 3 people working on the entire game. Yeah. So it's very esoteric. Everything takes place in this really kind of beautiful wide shot. Every act takes place in a single wide shot that kind of zooms in and out in interesting ways. And it's a point-and-click adventure game, but there's no such thing really as puzzles or as narrative choice. That's what's kind of really cool about it. You have these choices, but the choices affect how the story the narrative of the story more than like it's hard to explain. But unlike Mass Effect, where you do a certain number of choices, we can all complain about Mass Effect ending, but it'll affect a certain thing at the end. Whereas this, it's like, okay, someone will say, "Did you ever have a brother?" And you could say, "I had a brother, but he died," or "I've been an only child," or "I have a sister," and that becomes the logic and the truth of that world. So it kind of has this very interesting thing. Like there's one really clever one in Act 3 where a person is singing a song and you literally get to pick the next lyrics. So they actually sang the entire song in like these different branching tree paths, but you basically get to pick the song that you want to hear. So it's this very kind of interesting kind of game I've never played before. It's very surreal. It's very Twin Peaks-ish, maybe a little bit more like... I can't remember his name right now, but very literary. It's not so much sort of surreal humor like Twin Peaks. It's much more kind of dour and quiet. It's a lot about sort of the American West and the collapse of industry in America, and sort of about going and finding lost people, sort of a Route 66, beyond the point of Route 66 idea. So you get a lot of these sort of things that you kind of think about in a lot of these like caves and mines and electric companies buying up property, but it's also kind of interesting. Like there's an idea of this reclaimed space. So there's this person who puts people in places that are long abandoned. So in this one act, you go into a flooded out subway tunnel where people are working on phone operator lines, and it's kind of this beautiful collection of ruined landscape and archaic technology and lost souls all in one place, and it delivers that really well. Each act kind of has a different mode of transportation, and this one is kind of interesting where you're on a boat, and each time down the boat you go into this one place, and then each time you get to a new place it gives you two options. So it says like Ezra stayed on the boat to look at maps, or Ezra went to the gas station. And what you pick is the only one you get to see in that gameplay. So in a sense, you have 20 stops total, but you only get to see 10 each time. So that was part of the thing that I was like, I looked up later, and I think I missed two of the best ones, which is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, damn. But I kind of like that. That's an interesting thing of like going and like, you missed this thing because you wanted to explore this item. But it's very clever still. It's still a beautifully told story. I liked it more than 3, but not as much as like Act 1 or 2. But again, you just get some really beautiful music. You just get some really great dialogue. Every character feels really unique, which is what I appreciate for one writer. It doesn't feel like every character is one person, which is very tough to do, I think, sometimes. So it's just a really beautiful, interesting, engaging story that I want people to check out. But I also understand that it's like in 3 years of very sporadic updates. And they've been doing stuff in between. They did a very interesting thing called Here and There Along the Echo, which is this game where it opens on 15 different kinds of phones, and you can call this one number, and it's like this giant phone tree you can explore. And so they've been doing stuff in between. And one of my possessions I want to own is that they've made actual phones of those phones that you can get with programmed into it the same game, which I thought was really cool. But there has been content, but it's still just understandably frustrating that it takes a long time for this game to get made. So.
Imagine that, a point and click that makes perfect sense off the bat. I'm sorry. I do have issues with this. I agree with you. I love Kentucky Route Zero, but I do have massive issues with the genre.
Having played a little bit of Day of the Tentacle, totally. I totally get it.
No, right. You go back in time, fuck everything. It's just like...
Because they had no programming space, so what they did instead was make no sense.
Exactly. No, they're like...
Where this is,
it's only like...
storytelling. It's very storytelling focused. Sorry,
I clearly need to play this game at some point.
Yeah. Peter.
Okay, well...
Well, quickly.
I mean,
do you mind just quickly, Jack? Have you played it? I was curious.
Yeah, I have. I haven't played. I've played, I think, through the first 2 acts, so I haven't played enough to. I haven't. And I'll admit to this. Like they've been so sporadic. I just forget that they come out with new stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
that.
Like, you
Like
might
that's
just wanna wait
really
till, like,
like
5.
I loved it. I really did love, especially the first one. I didn't like I didn't like the second one as much, so I had a bit of a cooling, and like
Yeah.
I eagerly anticipated the second one. It came out, and it's just and I even bought the third, not bought, but like downloaded, but like I have it. But I haven't played it because, like, at that point, there's just a very cooling effect. And I'm excited for this one to have come out and finally be out and be kicking around and to have it be a more complete story that I might jump in one day. I mean, I think this is the issue with a lot of, like, the Steam Greenlight stuff, and that is, like, games need hard releases to get word of mouth going around to sell well. And I think I really think that we're seeing episodic games like this disappear because
Right.
it really is a negative impact on sales. And that's the thing is, like, I like the episodic nature of it, but I definitely find myself cooling on stuff, and like I play stuff, and like if I'm on a roll playing it, I'm really excited to play. I might not necessarily pick it up if it comes out in like a month or so, especially since with games I find you build skill sets and you're just like easily doing that, especially like Dark Souls. I can't imagine getting the DLC and jumping into a Dark Souls DLC. That terrifies me because like every time I picked up from Bloodborne on, like Dark Souls 3 hasn't had DLC, but like from Bloodborne on, all the DLC was out when I picked it up. So I just moved through it like it was a natural piece of thing. I can't imagine having put down Dark Souls 3 and going back to play DLC because my skill set would be fucked.
No.
That's why I want to wait till all these Hitman episodes are out. I hear they're great and like
the
exactly
new
what I
Hitman
want
game?
from Hitman, but it's like I just want to.
Yeah, they're not even out yet.
Do it
And
all.
like the Hitman news cycle is over, and that's the thing is like it's really sad to me to have so little
That's also
content
true,
out there,
yeah.
and that's really the bit that the mainstream is going to judge you on.
Right. It's very true. It's very
They could
true.
really do. They could do an amazing third act, and it could be amazing, and no one will play it. And I think I do really think that this is like a terrible business model for games. Not to be. I mean, if you're an indie developer, I think Kentucky Route Zero does it for like entirely different reasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the Kentucky Route Zero works for them because they get good press every time an act
Right.
comes out. Like it shows up
Right.
on Metacritic and everything.
No. Every time one comes out, it's like Half-Life 3 finally coming out. Like this is the one I don't. I'm saying like as a style, like like as a style of games to like emulate. I don't think anyone else could do it.
Right. Well, I'll come back next.
There aren't many developers that can do it.
Well, I'm sure
No.
I think indie is better for this.
I think and I think with Telltale, it's like they have
Exactly.
that. Like they're not always consistent, but they're at least typically you'll get it out within the year. You know what I mean? You're not gonna have a Kentucky Route Zero thing.
I get that. I just like, for instance, I stopped playing the Telltale things, but I understand. Like, I'm sorry.
But
like
a ton
the
of
first,
people do the binge watch thing, which is interesting. 'Cause
Right,
I'm kind of
right.
the opposite, where like on TV, I kind of don't love the binge watch model because that news cycle just goes away so fast.
Yeah.
You know, Orange is the New Black season 4 felt like it was.
Well, it's so much
talked
better
about for
on
2 days,
TV.
you know?
No, but I think that's the thing is because TV does so much better. It has such a tighter news cycle. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're talking, like you're talking. What's Kentucky Route Zero? Like how many years has this been?
3.
Yeah, 3
3
years.
total?
Yeah. Whereas like
it came
you're talking,
out January 2013, the first.
it needs to release
okay,
games
I
in
see,
like
I
a
see.
tight season, but the thing is, there's no reason to release it like that because there's no time to work on the next installment of the game. So like you're talking about like having an installment coming out within months, whereas like let's talk about the Bachelor in Paradise season. That's like what it's like a month, So like
Right.
and that's the thing is like that's the maximum impact is like it maybe if like you do like a bi-monthly a new part of that game comes out bi-monthly, but pretty much to do that everything has to have gone through gold at that point. So to do that and like have like a 3-month release schedule so that it could be dominating the cycle, the whole game would have been done and been able to release as one thing at the end. So it makes no sense to do it that way, but I think it has a much different impact that way because TV does it that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the TV is the perfect cycle. I don't think Netflix's way of doing it is smart at all because Hulu does it digitally perfectly, and I love it.
No, I totally agree, and it's just one of those things that's frustrating.
I know.
That's
Especially with like new
Lose that
anime.
momentum.
Like for instance, like I watch. I'll probably watch 10 shows this season at 30 minutes. I'll probably watch 60 hours of anime this
Lord.
season. And the only way that's possible is if I identify the shows I like and then watch them when they come out. And it's like 24 minutes, like, once or two every day. So it's like, it's only like an hour of my day during the week. But because of that, like when I talk to people, they're like, Jesus Christ, how much anime do you watch, you freak of nature? And what are all these harem shows? No, I'm just kidding. Not really. If Peter has access to my anime queue, so he now knows the deep dark places I go to.
Oh, it's great.
Just High School DxD. That's the only one I'll stand up for.
Honestly, it at least gives me a launching pad off of which to branch out and find other shit to watch. So like, it's great.
I feel like I'm good at separating my bad anime habits from like my good recommendations.
No, you are for sure. You are one of like the two people in all of Tuscan Shed that recommended Mob Psycho 100, and it's like, yes, thank you for that.
No, you need to watch that opening, Ben. It's fucking amazing. It is
my God.
It's great. His head turns into like a broccoli. It's great.
It's so trippy. Like I'm so sure that the people who did the storyboard for that intro were on something.
Oh yeah,
like
they're
shrooms
like mushrooms.
Acid
Did you see the shot where it's like in the second, and like the moons in the background become mushrooms, and I'm just like, oh, you sons of
that's
bitches.
That's some shrooms / acid tripping shit.
Somebody was animating high.
Very confused. Very confused.
But anyways, I think that's enough of that. If we want to move on to news stories real fast.
No, wait. We didn't talk about Peter's games.
Oh,
okay.
Shit, Peter. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Like I was actually about to be like, yeah, let's do that until Ben said it. Okay, well, really quickly, I bought Sims 4 like 5 months ago. Played it semi-religiously, dropped off, got back to it because I just like kind of mindlessly dictating the lives of little people inside my computer, and it's fun. Also, I'm like finally starting to get into trying to build a house that looks semi nice. Like when I'm done with it, I'll have to take a screenshot of my computer screen and send a picture to y'all to see if you like it or not. But then apart from that, I went back and played that game company's 2012 game Journey for the umpteenth time, because I think that game is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and perfect to me. I don't know about y'all, but Journey like speaks to me. It's a great game.
Journey's one of my all-time favorites. I
Yeah,
remember
it's a fabulous
Ben
game, yeah.
when we both started playing it in college, and we were both like, I bet we'll see each other out on the waves, maybe.
Yeah.
And you said it as a bye, and you said it so mysteriously, and then you just walked away. And that was exactly what I love. I love the way Journey does that, and the way you run into other people, and you have such a relationship.
You can just go in and out of each other's games. You could be playing for example in the first map where you'll be able to officially interact with other players who may also be online playing the game at the same time as you. You can see someone on way on the other side of the map, and you both have the choice, or you three or whoever have the choice to, like, okay, am I gonna link up with this person or not, or not? And even then, because there are no like actual words spoken in this game, it's simple, like the musical
glyphs,
the glyphs, that action. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful to me how that literally becomes the way that you talk to that player, or that you interact with each other. Like I remember the first time I played this game, I ended up linking up with someone, and how many times the two of us would just spam that button if something exciting was happening.
Right.
Like, and then when you finally beat the game and you get to see the screen names, the PSN names of whoever you crossed paths with while playing, whether it was one person or several. Knowing that you have like that kind of connection, even if it was like for a short time or for the whole game, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game.
No, I totally 100% agree. I've only played it once, and I honestly kind of I've only played it really once all the way through. I kind of just loved my one journey, but of course, it's
that's totally fine.
over and over again. But just that 2.5 hour experience, is just burned into my brain. It's
Right.
it's incredibly well paced. I think it's one thing that's really amazing about it. The closer you get to the end of your goal, the more the music swells and the imagery just like goes. It's built like a great kind of.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
It's almost half art film and half like blockbuster because art films are never that much like fun.
Yeah,
Austin Wintory did a great job on the score for that game. He did a fantastic job.
Oh, absolutely wonderful.
I mean,
and it gives you just this wonderful feeling of euphoria when you get to the end of it.
I think that's the thing is, like, for me, and this is another day's discussion talking about open world games, I really don't like open world games. Like, I just don't.
No.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't have the time or attention, not attention
patience.
span. I think it's just like my life now is like I can't be the same kind of gamer I was, and I think that's fine. I think you need all voices in gaming media, and I think saying people is like you have a professional job, like I have to go do stuff. I think the issue is, and that's not to say that's not to say that people that play RPGs like don't have stuff to do. I'm just saying like the time and investment doesn't work into like the job that I have now. But I think exactly, like there's people that I think you have to make the time in your life for that. But I think the thing for me is like I love how this game creates an environment and creates such a sense of exploration, but it's so guided at points to still give you those moments of like when the apotheosis swirls and there's just no way you're just going to go down through like the sand pits and you're gliding down into like the abyss, or you're sliding up that tower, or that ending. That ending is just amazing, and there's really you can go all over the place, but at the same time you're still like guided, and you just want to be a part of it. I never don't just do the ending straight face. Like I never go off and look around because there's no reason to, because the most beautiful thing in the world is happening right there in front of you.
Right. And it draws you in so well.
And for me, when I first played the game, like it was actually my roommate at the time who introduced it to me. Like one of my favorite things about Journey was the two of us. After I finished the game, and he was kind of looking at me like, so what you think? And we literally sat there for like 15-20 minutes and had kind of like a semi philosophical-ish conversation about just being like, okay, like what does this mean to you? What does Journey as a whole kind of mean to you? Like what does it represent? And that and having at least for us that other, once again, another layer of interaction with another player was really cool to me. That's my bit.
I think that's the thing. It was just such. The other thing about Abzu's I'm gonna say is that Journey broke down so many barriers, and Abzu doesn't really innovate, and that's probably gonna be the issue. Is like, and it makes it sad to me to say that like I think like Journey hit those buttons. I want this to be a style of game that comes out, but I'm just so not as accepting of Abzu. Oh, well, let me talk. I need to play more before I say anything about it. So let's go ahead and move on. I don't mean to cut it off, Peter. I just like I have a lot to say about this, and I do want to talk about it definitely next week.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So coming up on news. News time.
That was a really nice, like, unplanned kind of harmony.
I liked it. Yeah, we nailed it.
I was trying to add a little bit in the background.
Yeah. You're good.
Very much appreciated.
Sorry, I'm a bit gassy. Anyways. So, if you can't tell about it, we're doing a news story. So, obviously, we're going to talk about Pokemon Go because it seems to be the only thing we can talk about on this podcast.
I mean, it's super important.
It's dominating the fucking world. I mean, it's hard not to.
It's hard, and it's also hard with the juicy stories that are kind of going on this week. To kind of talk about it, it is a little bit. Some of this is old news, some of this is newer. But again, since we've last talked about it, Pokemon Go has removed the tracker functionality off the game. So what they've done is essentially like before, when you would see a Pokemon, you could see like the closest Pokemon in your area. And keep in mind, that's a half-mile radius of those Pokemon in your area, and they're on a GPS point. So it's in a very like the Pokemon are in a half-mile radius around you. So finding them in that half-mile radius is insane without like having specific directions. And before, it would show how closer you were based upon like a 3-step function. So Pokemon that were close didn't have any steps. Pokemon that were farther away had 3 steps. But they removed that, and so now there's literally no way to hunt down the existing Pokemon. At the same time,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Peter.
No, I mean, I guess it was going to be like what you were also going to
Yeah,
what you were
yeah,
also going to bring up.
Pokevision.
But yeah. So Niantic, the developer of Pokemon Go, they also basically served like a cease and desist for Pokevision, which used kind of a GPS system to show on their website specific places where specific Pokemon were in the game at any given time, so that players could go to those points and find whatever particular Pokemon they were looking for.
Well,
Niantic
it would show. It would just Pokevision would just take, because Pokevision would back into Niantic's API for the game and would literally find out where specific Pokemon were spawning in certain locations and just throw up a map of that. Now,
Right.
I agree, and I think Pokevision, the owner of Pokevision, was really nice because he's saying like maybe it's too far, maybe it makes it too easy. Like he was open about that fact. And I probably agree it makes the game too easy, but the fact that they shut down the servers and removed the 3-step functionality of the game at the same time has sent everyone into like a rage about it. People are dropping left and right. Everyone's not talking about it. People are pissed. And I think the big reason is because Niantic just wasn't talking to anyone. And they finally came out and talked about it this week. So essentially, in an article, in an open letter from Niantic, they talked about Pokevision. They talked about the APIs that were happening and like the issue that the Pokevision was causing for their internal servers. Their justification, and they gave like a very weird-looking graph to justify it, is that because of the way Pokevision worked and made requests from their API and their server side, it would drive up the usage of the game it would artificially do that. So like people that were hunting Pokemon would have the app open, which would create the server need, but also the app, they'd have a separate app open for Pokevision, creating it would double the server need of the existing Pokemon Go.
Right.
That. So they showed a graph of saying after they shut down Pokevision, it dropped exponentially. So people are saying that was their justification, and I kind of buy that. I don't know what you guys think, though.
I mean, I can understand wanting to cut down on how much the server is being used, but for me at least, most of my issue comes from them taking away the whole footprint function with how far Pokemon are away from a player at any given moment. Because I mean. Because to me, the reason they gave for doing that was so kind of half-assed. We want players to have more of an enjoyment of just coming upon randomly a Pokemon at any given moment. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can understand that kind of, but if I have no idea on which direction to go, I could be walking around like the half-mile radius for who knows how long. Like, taking away that footprint function takes away any point of direction for this game.
Right. No, I agree, and I think that's the thing is they need to be more effusive in talking about the fact that this game is unusable right now. I think that's the thing. I'm cool with people taking down Pokevision. I just think that like you can't try to fix that community. Like, don't fix the stopgaps that people that love your game do it if you're not going to give them the functionality. There's no reason that you can't leave Pokevision up. And then they're like, we couldn't launch in Brazil until Pokevision came down. And I do believe that. I do believe that it was a significant server load. So hopefully if they fix that and they just I think like the point is like they need to be more effusive about the fact, and people are actually suing about having put money into the game now that it's currently not working. So I think that's true. Right. And they're also not doing a lot to fix the bot issue, too, with people building bots that are essentially taking over local locations, and the bots just play 24/7. So, of course, they're just unfucking beatable. Especially, and I think it's more of an issue in, like, I've not seen a bot around here, I'm guessing, by, like, the low-level Pokemon in Durham, North Carolina. You can all
do they just
murder me.
How does a bot work if it's localized?
So you can spoof the location of the GPS on a computer and run the Pokemon app on a computer, and then you can just have it there, and it just continuously spawning. That's the thing, is you can beat high level Pokemon if you just have a couple Pokemon in an area. Like, that's the thing, is you get together in a team and there's a low level Pokemon at the gym, you can just continue turning that gym over by beating the low level Pokemon there until it loses all that, and then you just you're able to take it over. And that's the thing, is if you have a bot there that's literally just running, the attack thing over 1,000 times a minute, like there's no way to beat it or hold that gym. You can beat it, but there's just no way to hold it.
Right. That's crazy.
I think the thing is the game's just like more broken than it was when it came out, and like I think most people were very accepting of how broken it was when it came out, and now we're just like, it's more broken than it was when it first came out. So when is it going to approve? And this is the other thing, is Niantic hasn't given a timeline for anything, and that's my big problem.
That's what I can tell, is that people are very pissed off that they're not responding to almost anything.
Right. I mean, I think that's fair. I think game companies I think you can't be silent anymore.
Right.
I think that time period has passed people by when you could just be a game company and have a big issue with the game and just be silent and it would go away. Like if 1 million people are talking about it, like you can't shut up. Like you just can't. And that's literally
especially
with this
when
game.
When it extends beyond even the typical gaming community, you know what I mean? Pokemon Go is played by everybody, so now you have like moms. Like I hate I'm just giving a total stereotype.
They made a fucking joke about it at the DNC at the literally.
Yes.
I mean, I know it is an awful joke.
So painful. It was like watching a mom trying to connect with your kids because she thinks that it's cool and
it was.
thing.
But the fact that the DNC is aware of it just makes me like say, it's like, oh, look how like getting political. The DNC is not in tune with the world. I don't know.
I'll cut out gender and age. But to say is a person whose only experience with games is Candy Crush and Angry Birds is also sometimes a Pokemon Go player. And that's like a different kind of person who reacts to this as a tech issue over a game issue. You know what I mean?
Which is,
that's
I think,
where I think you might see a lot of issue with people being like,
look at the
my
hard
Pokemon
numbers,
Go doesn't work.
Yeah. When you look at the hard numbers of like who plays games and we talk about this kind of stuff, you can see that like the Candy Crush audience is like 10 times bigger than like the average like console owner. Is the issue. It's like we talk about the hardcore gamer.
Effect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that this game is more available to everyone means that this audience is bigger than the gaming audience. And that's like a scary thought, to be honest. Like, cuz like if you're not chasing it, why the fuck wouldn't you chase that kind of money? It's like the Wii U. That's why the Wii U sold so much. Which would have been a great transition to the fucking topic of the show, but we got one more.
Candy Crush sold for like more than fucking Star Wars. Like,
right.
That's
serious? How 7.9 billion or something, like 7 billion, some 7 billion number.
People forget
Star Wars sold for 4. Like, Candy Crush makes $1 billion a year. Not joking.
Shit.
Like, it is ridiculous if you can monetize these crazy popular apps, because everyone has a smartphone and it extends, like you said, beyond the typical gaming community, because there isn't that sort of block. I mean, there is a block where you have to learn how to use a controller. You have to learn to use certain things. You have to use a mouse pad. There are hurdles for a lot of people, and most people can just pick up Pokemon Go and play right away.
And that's the reality. And I think people are mad is like Niantic is going to make $1 billion off this.
If they don't, they know how to do business.
Yeah, I know. They're the worst business ever, and the fact that they haven't reinvested that money into this game and fixed a lot of the existing problems. The fact that the time lag of this game and fixing the issues is so long, I think is really bad. I think it's a really bad sign, at least. All right,
I'll agree.
Yeah, moving on.
Just for facts,
go ahead, Ben.
Candy Crush sold for $5.9 billion.
Jesus,
1.9 million more than Star Wars sold for. Just a reminder.
My goodness.
It's crazy.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. All right, next story. So, Deus Ex Mankind Divided promo art criticized for evoking Black Lives Matter movement. If you see, this is a piece of promo art that's taking place in, I believe, Moscow, based upon the Kremlin right there behind it. And it has a little sign that said, "All Lives Matter." And people are just saying, this video game shouldn't be aping the Black Lives Matter movement motto. Peter, you were the one that had something to say about this.
Yeah, so For those of you who don't know, who haven't been able to glean from stuff I've said in other podcasts and from our Tuscan show,
Are we talking about
Big Picture? I'm the black man of the group. so, yeah, you were like, where is he going with this?
I was like, oh god.
No, I just want to establish that before.
I wasn't
before
gonna
make my
say it.
comment.
I was hoping people didn't know because it was like, let me toss this black issue to the black guy.
No. I know you want to do that, but I just want to establish I just want to establish personally that as a black man, for me personally, this is what I'm saying. I'm not speaking for everyone, just me personally. I actually don't have that much of a problem with it because when you look at the Deus Ex video game series as a whole, with it being kind of the conflict between humans who aren't augmented, whether it be mechanical in Human Revolution and now Mankind Divided, or with nanobites in the first like two or so, the first two or so games. When you look at that conflict, to me at least, it in some ways mirrors that of different civil rights movements that have existed in this country, because in the Deus Ex games, the humans who have not augmented themselves in any way, shape, or form, no limbs, no eyes, whatever, they have an extreme distrust and dislike and hatred for those who are. They feel that they are messing with humanity. So it becomes a social issue within the narrative of this game of do you or don't you, and if you do, what does that say about you? To me, how that in some ways mirrors Black Lives Matter is that the Black Lives Matter movement, it exists around the argument that Black Lives Matter as well, because in many cases throughout U.S. history, Black lives have not been proven to matter based on law enforcement, education, institutional racism, what have you. So to me, it kind of makes sense to have in this promo image in a corner a group holding up a banner that says "Augs Lives Matter," because it's not the same thing, but it's a similar argument that exists in this fictional futuristic narrative that they are creating in Deus Ex. If that makes sense at all.
I would agree, except for I think that Eidos has been incredibly dumb about the way they've handled it.
Yeah,
I will agree with that.
And that they've said straight up, like, hey, we didn't even know Black Lives Matter was a thing. What?
Yeah. No, that's they kind of like, okay, so let me I'm gonna disagree. I want to disagree with Peter's point specifically.
Okay.
But no, don't take it wrong.
No.
I mean, I think the issue for me is that, like, you know, Black Lives Matter movement is like comes back down to a very specific moment in like history, talking about a very specific issue, and it feels tacky. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I agree with you. I think I'm very free on the fact that like art needs to be, because video games are art, and I do believe that art needs to not have, like, it can be criticized, and as a criticism, this is fine for me. Somebody saying that this game needs to not do that is wrong for me, because art needs to have the ability to go where it needs to go, and I totally agree with that. At the same time, I think it's just fucking tacky. Because it's not in terms of that, like, it's not used, you know, there's so much from history that you can pull from to have allusions to in this thing. And I do think it is creating like an issue of like social economic class. I think it's less of a race thing. It's like socioeconomic class given race. Do you know that's what augmentation means a little bit. Yeah. And so I think there's just so much more interesting issues and economic issues you could pull from. This feels lazy. It feels like a grab at the current market.
No, I'd agree with that, and I think that it's always been my problem with Deus Ex, is that I think they're very on the nose, at least in these last two games, with their symbolism and their messagery. I remember a line in the last game of like, I don't want you to hold me with your cold, dead arms. It's just like, oh, like there's some very very on the nose kind of writing they can do sometimes. It is very frustrating. And Jim Krasinski actually did a kind of interesting thing of like, can we get to a point now where we have to kind of hide these bigger issues and other things? His point being that Mafia 3 is going to be about 1960s America, and it's going to focus directly, supposedly, on racism and Vietnam War, and it's going to kind of deal with these issues directly. And so it's sort of an idea like, do we have to hide these things behind robots and elves and typical game lore to talk about racism or sexual identity issue or whatever?
Well, I think that's the issue is like, how do you get... I mean, for me, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to... See, I don't think it's a bad thing to use things, because I think, for instance, like Zootopia talking about racism was a great way to talk to kids about racism.
I'm not saying that it's necessarily one-to-one, but I'm saying that we don't always have to go to that well. You know what I mean? Like,
no, we don't. Like, having actual stories. But I feel like we do have
there's
good
so much
stories.
clunkier than a Zootopia or a...
well, that's games, because you have to have a gaming element. You have to figure out how the story's going to progress or how the game's going to play. And the issue is, like, this is more an element of just, like, setting. And that's the issue, is, like, all the racism is happening in the setting. I mean, I don't think that people are... I mean, I think that he's, like, going to be part of, like, an underground movement, so how much of it is he going to be involved in? I mean, that's really the issue here for me, is like video games have to have play, and that's why like we very rarely get a journey where there isn't like a state where you have to kill enemies or get like a... oh god, we did a podcast about it. we didn't do this podcast. That was the proto save point when we did it actually in the MG, when we actually did it on the Movie Gang podcast. What was it called?
Oh yeah.
we reviewed... oh fuck, what was it, guys? Help me.
Was it Hardcore Henry?
No. It wasn't Hardcore Henry. It was. We actually reviewed a game and we called it Sidecast. Undertale. Yeah, there's very few games where you don't have a killing mechanism, and even Undertale has a killing mechanism. It's just like a choice, and uses that to such a great effect. I don't think a lot of games can do something like that, and so I think that as soon as you do that, you've limited certain kinds of stories that you can tell. And I think that's the issue. Is games have to figure out a way to get around that, and very few manage to do it well without insulting the user.
Right.
So, okay. All right. That's all those stories for this week. Moving on to the topic of the show. Topic of the show. Cool.
I'm loving this.
Recently, and I want to start out first with this. Recently, there was a Eurogamer article that came out that was talking about the newest expectations. Well, not the expectations. They were alleging to have a leak about the information and a design diagram for the Nintendo NX. And the design goes something like this. It looks like a screen with two controllers on the side attached. So apparently, the Nintendo NX is going to be a portable console that plugs into a base station to use on your TV, but then you can pick it off the base station, take it on the go, and two players then can detach the controllers from the side to use with a fold-out stand TV with a fold-out screen. So the console physically has a screen built into it. And it looks similar to like a Wii U gamepad, just where the controllers pop off the sides of it, which is what this thing looks like. First, before we say anything,
goddamn screen being a controller,
it's a giant fucking thing. I don't know how you would play with it, because I imagine that
I've tried before. It's a nightmare.
It's not a good controller. They've learned nothing.
I'm okay.
Hold on. I gotta say this. Just the journalist in me has to say this. There is an issue with the journalistic integrity of this article. First off, they're saying that it's confirmed by multiple sources. This is a little bit different than what usually happens in the journal and like journalist and journal articles in. They're not journal articles, but in articles in video games. Usually, when stories leak about this, other people will come in and will kind of look at it and kind of they'll corroborate it. Like usually, like somebody drops an article and then everyone else corroborates their own facts about it, and then everyone else leaks at it. There is no one else corroborating this story. So it is just Eurogamer, and even though they're a very reputable source, Kotaku actually came out, and again, this is Kotaku. Nothing against them, but like everyone needs like a kind of a, I don't mean to call them lower end, but just lower moralistic integrity of a news source, so that they're more likely to they're more likely to print something with less information. They said that they had rumors that said this was correct. They said that they had specifically rumors that were talking about what had happened, and they're saying that they had rumors that led it to believe that the article was correct, but they had nothing that they said would go to print right now. And let me tell you something about Kotaku. If they had somebody on file saying that this is how it was going to be, they would have run that article. So I need you guys to realize like how harsh this is, how much of a rumor this is. Like I don't know that we can necessarily do it. So as we talk about the Nintendo NX today, keep in mind, dear viewer, that this is very much rumor. This is very much an article. It could all just be Bosch or something else. We don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell, but I think it brings up a good opportunity to talk about the future of handhelds and how they're going away in the industry and how they're going to evolve with this next generation of consoles. What do you guys think of the design?
I think it's interesting. The big thing is that much like the question, are films being made for American audiences or Chinese audiences, I feel like there's a similar debate going on. Are we making games for American audiences or Japanese audiences? Japanese audiences love handhelds. Love them.
Oh, yeah,
are
they do.
Super popular in Japan, where they've always been decently popular in America, but not as much as consoles. And I think it's kind of interesting, if this is true, obviously that'll be the blanket for this, to make sort of a middle ground. And it feels like a logical step, because the Wii U was sort of that. It was like, hey, here's the same game, same sort of processing power on a pad. You can walk around in your house. I mean, the pad itself was a nightmare because it was the size of a freaking loaf of bread. But
a loaf of bread.
And you can't play a loaf of bread every day, especially when that loaf of bread needs to charge and it only lasts like 2 hours. But it was still neat. It was still cool that I could pick up Mario Kart and just play it, anywhere in my house and lay down on my bed, just play it like that or whatever. But
right.
It feels like a logical step. This is it, but it also feels like, once again, the very frustrating thing about Nintendo is that we love their properties. And it's very frustrating that this is how we have to get their properties so many times, is these gimmick consoles. I miss a N64, I miss a GameCube was sort of the last one I felt like that didn't have a thing attached to it, that had an angle attached to it. So this feels like it could be a little bit less of that, which would be nice, but it still feels like I just want to play a normal Zelda game on a normal Zelda
literally
console.
The most different type of console we've had. To me, like, it's definitely the biggest.
I'm only saying that in terms of controls, maybe, because it's so not.
No. It's similar in controls. Yeah, I agree. It's similar to this. It's similar to the Wii U. Why you want to emulate that specific console, I have no idea.
Go figure.
But the idea, I feel like the point here is that, like, you're saying like, oh yeah, the GameCube is the best, but like from sales wise, like, how can we blame Nintendo?
I don't blame
them. You can't. Not really from like a doing business side of things. Like, they can recapture that console.
They're trying to chase that Wii money.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing is like they can like from the money, it looks like they can fuck up 2 generations. Like, they have generations to fuck up as long as they make a Wii. They're good. Like, as long as they win one of the cycles. I don't think they're ever going to win another cycle as much as they won the Wii. The Wii burned people a little bit because people didn't use it. People didn't keep using it. Everyone has
the
a
Wii
Wii.
was a massive. It's a Batman versus Superman. It's we make a bunch of money at once and then it fizzles out.
And then the drop off was just
versus like an Xbox 360 that just kept going. Just kept selling and selling, like the PlayStation. And the Xbox. They just kept selling and selling year after year. Versus exactly like you said, a Wii was like everyone got it and everyone put it in the trash a few years later.
Well, yeah,
it was a Guitar Hero almost. It was some of the equivalent of it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's definitely the issue with some of the stuff going on here is that, like, is this gonna be another like Wii, or what are they doing here? I think the thing that's interesting to me is that a lot of people are kind of creating more SKUs in their video game category, and Nintendo seems to be creating less SKUs, because I can't imagine they're gonna open with a portable console and then make a very powerful 3DS, like a 3DS2 or whatever. Like, there's no way they're gonna make a handheld, and a handheld console as well. Sorry, handholds. Why do I keep wanting to say handheld console?
Because you want a hand to hold. Oh.
I do. I need more love in my life. You guys live too far away, you fuckers.
Hey,
I love
sorry.
you. I love you, Peter.
I'm sorry.
Come hold my hand.
Okay,
Come hold my hand.
Give me 2 days to drive from Texas to North Carolina.
You do. You can do it. You can do it in one, or you can do it if you were my friends and me in college in 7. My parents are like, "What are you doing?"
Oh
Nothing.
my God.
We got stopped in traffic. Yeah. We didn't take a detour to New Orleans at all. I think the thing is, like, so you guys think they will iterate on the 3DS?
Well, like, just give up on the 3DS and go with this?
Yeah.
As both?
As one SKU.
It's hard to say because the 3DS has been super popular. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean,
No, it is.
I mean,
It is. And
yeah,
this
because
is something I want to say. Like, I mean, I think the thing for me is, like, they've created iterations of the 3DS and continued to up its power over time.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at how far that handheld has come from just like from the very beginnings of Nintendo DS days.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we went. Yeah, I mean, because we went from like to DS to wait. Hold on. Let me look this up because
DS Lite, 3DS, new 3DS. And there's some other iterations. Those are the main iterations. And the new 3DS pisses me off because it was such a power jump. And for me, the 3DS and the new 3DS is evidence of the fact that, like, fucking Scorpio and PS Neo are not gonna be fucking good. Because I bought
it's the Jaguar 64 problem. Like, if you go too far too fast.
Let me finish here.
No, I don't
my
want
story.
I want to talk about
goodness,
Jaguar
guys.
64.
No, I'm just teasing. I mean, this is something that really made me angry because I bought Hyrule Warriors, like the 3DS version, not realizing that it was optimized for the new 3DS and runs about 14 frames a second for the old one.
Ew.
So no, it's unplayable. It's unplayable, and that's what's going to happen. Is we're going to get games that are unplayable.
Right. To go back to my point, the
All right,
Jaguar
go ahead.
was the 64-bit way before the N64 days, and nobody could develop it. Partially because it was kind of, I don't think it's going to be this issue, but it was cobbled together
Right.
to sort of push it to 64-bit. I don't think that's really an issue anymore, but you are kind of seeing this case where just because something is like it's going to be like six teraflops. What's the flop term?
Teraflops is mumbo jumbo, dude.
The flops. Again, it's one of those things. There are graphics cards with more flops than like sort of the NTX, best one on the market right now. But it's all about optimization. So you're right. Scorpio could just be a case of we put all this computing power in there, but it has zero good optimization.
Right.
So
which is the issues
really
we're seeing iterations right now, because here's the other thing, like, the Xbox One S just came out, which is their slim one, and people were testing it and found out that it is actually not significantly, but a bit more powerful than the base Xbox One. And people are saying, like, so is the Xbox Slim now the baseline power for the Xbox One, because it makes a difference because it runs about 7 frames per second faster or something like that. They proved that, like, in something in Drive Club, like, it just runs a little bit faster because it just has a little bit bigger GPU. So have we already outmoded the Xbox One before? Like, it's, for me, it feels kind of dirty because, I mean, I guess like 360 did this as well, because like I have a day one 360 console. That shit doesn't even have HDMI ports, dude. like
I'm surprised. I'm actually impressed that you have a day one.
No,
360.
I have a day one PS3 and a day one Xbox 360, and the day one PS3 is the only one that's giving me trouble right now. Though frankly,
Wow.
the day one PS3 is my favorite console of all time, probably. It was
so
backwards
good.
compatible, like Blu-ray player, everything that you ever wanted. It was a fat motherfucker, but it was the best, and it got me
It
through
gave
college.
you what you wanted.
It did. It
yeah,
did.
I have a PS3 Slim, and it's solid, but yeah, I wish I had the big fat
Well,
dumbass.
Katie just like popped in Final Fantasy X the other day into my PS3, and I was like, oh shit,
my
I forgot it was
God.
backwards compatible.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was amazing
Yeah.
just to do that. And I stand by the fact that the PS3 Fat Boy is the best console ever, because they were so ahead of their time, because fucking my 360, and that's the thing, is my day one 360 still works. I probably play it a lot less than the PS3 through its lifetime, so that probably saves it. But like it had just those old HD plugs, the ones where it was just like the HD plug into the back end of the TV, and you hit a switch and it would switch to HD through the RGB plugs. That was always really funny to me. But I think that's the thing, is like this seems to be that iteration where there is a big jump up, and I think like the Xbox is more expecting people to buy newer consoles, and it's just weird for me to see like like maybe it's just that technology's gotten to this point where we can't just have a console that lasts 8 to 10 years.
It doesn't feel like it, and that's why I'm frustrated the Steam box didn't really take off as much as it did, because it was an interesting idea to do a console that has that kind of lifetime, where instead of that you just buy new graphics cards and you buy new upgrades to it and you plug that into it. And I'm wondering if that model will be ever taken on into the future. It sort of was the model a long time ago, where you had especially Sega, like you had 332X, and it just became this weird cancer thing of this, like you just shoved stuff on top of each other. But it still extended that lifespan to a degree, even if it wasn't perfect. And I do wonder if that would be the future of just a graphics port, of the little like button you push and buy the new graphics port 2 years down the line and plug that in.
Right.
It feels like an interesting possible mode to change it, like the old expansion pack days.
Yeah.
Brought back to kind of give it a little bit more life.
Just done well. I mean, I think the issue is that with like the box and homes, like the other thing that might be happening is we might be watching consoles fizzle out in real time here.
That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, that's like the
Kind of
scary
scary
thing to
to
me.
me.
And it's nice to see like NX coming back around, doing stuff like this and trying to innovate. I just can't. You guys were way more positive about them still coming out with a new 3DS. That shocks me, because I was running in this direction of this being like the combined thing, and they're trying to combine the user base, bring on the 3DS. Because like, let's be honest, I didn't buy a PS Vita for the longest time, because when I got my 3DS, like I got it to play Fire Emblem. And that's the thing, is like, if they
Awakening or the
so I got it to play Awakening, but I am playing the new one right now, and I love
Right.
it. And that one works great on my old 3DS.
yeah.
I can't believe I have to say my old 3DS. Jesus Christ.
It's so weird to say.
You guys may not be able to guess this, but I'm really, really bitter about that, actually. That like
No,
there was a
totally
new
valid,
console that came out, and I didn't even know about it till like I slapped in a game for it, and it just didn't work.
That's totally valid.
That was a horrifying experience for me. Anyways, on the same note, I mean, we just wanted to talk about it, but like, do you think like as a portable console, this one will be successful?
I really don't know. I feel like I feel like this is something that we'll have to like wait and see like what kind of games they plan on releasing for it, what kind of power it'll actually have, what its design will actually be before people like decide, before people ultimately decide to pass judgment on it. Like I mean right now the stuff that we're getting is just speculative, so people really don't have that much concrete evidence or just stuff to run on. That's me.
Yeah. I mean, but I think more to the point, like, do you guys think, like, the handheld space is obviously contracting?
Oh, okay.
Because we've had the best console, the handheld console of all time, that's the PS Vita, and no one played it.
Could be. I mean, it's always.
I'm just making a bit of a joke, just putting that up.
You just want to.
Yes.
You just want to circle jerk the PS Vita a little more.
Yeah, I do. I really do love the Vita. I'm sorry. We're gonna get to that. Just that. I have a little bit to drop about that. That's related to this. But go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Well, I think the big issue is phones. I mean, that's the big question. You look at Pokemon Go and you look at any other thing like that, and it's tough because mobile games are very different than handheld games. They're different kinds of experiences, and I don't want one to completely go away versus the other. And I just really, quite frankly, have never played a phone game that I think is as good as a handheld game that I know of.
No.
Quite frankly, if there's interesting ones, please let me know. But
not off the top of my
not
head.
yet.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, stuff
any handheld game has been very interesting. Like Gear Walk has eventually come to Steam. You know what I mean? It has the ability to be played on a computer, as far as I know.
Yeah. I think that's the issue is for me is like these games are just like I'll never forget the first time I got a PS Vita and was on a plane playing Uncharted Golden Abyss, and that was an experience for me. That was the experience that I think that Nintendo is offering here with the console, with the handheld, with the travel console, is like here's a thing that you can take around and like you can go somewhere and you can just play like a full console style game on the go. And I mean, if it is that, that's kind of for me. That's something that is really amazing to me because, like, I think like what did I play like God of War and stuff. But it's really what I want. And then there's some games like that we've able to get broken down. Like people still carry around their PSPs because of the homebrew capability. And recently, the PS Vita was again jailbroken with the new Hinkaku app using FTL packets. They're able to actually jailbreak a PS Vita, and so with that, there'll probably be a rejuvenation of the PS Vita. I'm pretty sure Sony just wants to sell the units at this point, so they're not going to give as much of a fuck. So hopefully that's the way it is. I mean, that's what I hope.
They're like, please, dude.
I've actually already done it to my PS Vita, and I played. I don't know how much I want to admit to this. I mean, I was trying to experiment with Hinkaku and see if it was the thing. I hate saying Hinkaku. That is the actual term for it.
It's too close to some things.
I know it's really dirty. But I think the point is like I played Crash Bandicoot on it on handheld, and it's like the original game, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
No, I remember the PSP emulator game was out of control. So
yeah. So I mean,
it's
funny that we want this thing, and it's just funny to me that like we want a powerful game, we want a powerful handheld, we want a powerful console we can take places. Maybe the Nintendo NX is right.
It could be, and it's again, it's tough to say because it all matters again on portability and ease of use, and they got to think in terms of do people want to take this on a train or a plane, or are people going to want to
Who the fuck is on trains, Ben? Like seriously.
People in Europe.
True, people in Europe, and I wish I was on a train. I wish I could get on a train and like just watch the countryside.
I took a train ride in England. It was wonderful.
No, it's great. It's one of those things that's just like ridiculous that like a plane flight to New York City is like costs less than like a train ride to New York City.
Oh, and it takes like 900 less hours.
It does. It's like an hour and 30 to New York City from like Durham, North Carolina, or it's like 11 hours on a train that costs like an extra like $50.
It's insane.
Pass.
I don't know why America can't get trains right.
we picked interstates. We picked interstates over trains.
Yeah.
Well, it's the funny thing too is that if you get on trains in America, it's like full of European people that just didn't know.
They don't know.
That's all they know.
They just don't know. There's like, why do America trains cost so much? I don't know what accent that was. It was terrible.
It was like all of Europe.
I feel like I've insulted like 12 different countries there.
Dear listeners, pick apart that statement Jack just made and figure out which European accents he just used.
We actually don't have any listener questions this week. I was excited.
Damn it.
I know. Well, we're going to run over time too much anyways. But I did want to ask you guys just on your last things, just like go ahead and tell me, what do you think the future of Nintendo? Do you think this console would be successful or not?
I guess it just all matters to me on ease of use and how it functions. I think it could. I think there is an advantage there, and I think people would love it. And those properties, the power of those.
It's the only reason we're still talking about them is where the fuck is Zelda and where the fuck is Mario gonna go?
Yeah,
exactly. I want that Breath of Wind game. If it's on the NX, I'll figure that out.
The games they release will determine how successful this console is. If when Breath of the Wind is released and that game is amazing, if we get a Super Mario game, if we get a fucking Metroid game that's like actually good and not the other M, then this console has the chance to legitimately be successful.
I think the other alternative is, for me, it's there's two things that are going to happen here. One, it's going to fail, and that's okay with me. Two, and I'll explain why in a minute, but two, it's successful, and it gives me that handheld experience I've always wanted, where I can go and like just pop it out at work. Yeah, well, I wouldn't actually do that at work. I would never do that at work for like any reason. But like, let's say,
you get the idea.
Like I could be at a coffee shop, and I could have a coffee, and I could play fucking Zelda Breath of the Wind. That's amazing to me. That's what I want.
like I do want to make a comment. I do want to make a comment, and I'm going to reference back during E3 back in June, I think it was. June during Microsoft's press conference when they talked about how you'd be able to play a game both on PC and Xbox One, and I think that notion kind of speaks to what the Nintendo what this next console from Nintendo is doing. I think people want more of an integration of experience. We may not at the end of the day we may not end up necessarily wanting to be able to pick up like the console itself and be able to walk away with it, but we still want to be able to take that game and be able to walk away and keep playing it. I think that's what this NX will speak to. We want an integration of experience across different platforms.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I think for me, like the thing is, if it fails, Nintendo will eventually break down and just make games, and that is actually probably the perfect future for me.
You just want Nintendo games on PS4.
No, I mean, yeah. Like, can you imagine if that floodgate opened up?
Dude,
It would be crazy.
Like, imagine if, like, instead of having like a hardware division, like Nintendo just went lean and mean and just produced first-party Mario, Zelda, and all these games.
That would be something.
It would be amazing, and maybe they wouldn't be able to innovate the same way, but I'm sure they would make. I'm sure they would make enough to survive as a smaller company. They couldn't be a hardware company; they would never have the same sales. But damn, dude, that sounds like I think that's the thing is for me, like there is no win or lose with Nintendo. Like eventually, it's just all gonna come down, unless they like I don't know start acting like I don't know Konami and be total dicks and just make cheaper machines.
Nothing tops Konami's weirdness. I don't think
just
anybody ever.
Jim Sterling.
I've never seen an entire company seem to have a mental breakdown. It's
just like over like personal issues, just like sacrifice a whole successful gaming division over nothing.
Konami is that guy on Facebook. You're just like, are you all right, man? Like,
he's like, what's going on, bro? he starts posting like music lyric quotes.
Oh yeah,
ambiguous face. Someone called Konami. I'm worried.
Ambiguous Facebook statuses where it's either a music quote or some kind of motivational music lyrics or motivational quote, and you're like, dude, what's up?
You okay, bro?
Or just like a line like, I don't know anymore.
I don't know.
And then you message them privately, be like, hey, do you want to talk?
Right.
Or like some like vaguely insensitive comment about women. It's just like that bitch doesn't even know.
And you're just like, oh god.
No.
Oh Jesus.
Konami, no. I'm totally random, but I'm very curious to see what Hideo Kojima Unleashed is. That trailer at E3 was just like, whoa, okay.
I really
get to do whatever you want.
I really actually am. Like it's like honestly that first. I hate to say it, but that first game is just gonna set the tone for what we think about
This is
Konami.
gonna be great.
What the new game?
I wonder if like Konami is just like secretly like biding their time, just like he's gonna release a game in like a year, like a couple years, and then everyone's gonna know that we weren't wrong.
Oh, you think like this is gonna be such a weird fucking nightmare that like
or it's just they'll come out that he can't like do any sort of like the reason they were so pissed off is because he can't do any sort of budget production. Like he can't budget anything or something. I don't know. It's possible.
It could happen. I could see Sony being like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like he just comes to a meeting. He's like, yeah, I need like double the budget I have.
And they're like, I'm sorry, what? Come again?
And they're just like, oh shit.
I will admit though I was very intrigued by that trailer for Death Stranding at E3.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I had no idea what the hell was going on, but I am very intrigued. And by the way, the promotional teaser poster for this game looks like a fucking movie. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up.
I love it. I love everyone like that's just movie photos right now. Somebody's back's turned to me. Like,
right. Interesting language.
It's like the Jason Bourne pictures. It's always just Matt Damon's face with some text over it.
This is gonna be kind of political.
White italics.
It'll eventually be Norman Reedus' face. And it'll just be like,
yes.
The future is written or something like that. You know, one of those
Oh my god. Very ominous.
Right.
I'm down. I'm down for it.
Oh, man. Let's go ahead and end this, guys. For the
Yeah.
Save Point Gamecast, I have been your host, Jack Newman. Please go and check out the TuscanShedMedia.com. That's TuscanShed.com. Go check us out over there. You can check out all our available podcasts, primarily the Movie Gang podcast, as well as this one you just listened to, the Save Point Gamecast, A Feast for Bros, a Game of Thrones podcast, as well as Geek Space 9. And coming tomorrow, our very own, or it should be, I don't know when we're actually going to post this, but it should be out this week, our first episode of our very own anime review podcasts. So stay tuned watching for that. I have been joined today by Peter Dancy,
It's been great, guys. Thanks for listening.
as well as Ben Haworth.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.